All right, let's get into it with the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden and our guy Ryan Wilson. Fellas, when you take a look at what Josh Jacobs has done here over the last 3 weeks, it's fantastic. When you take a look at it through the lens of what he did through the first 3 weeks of the season, was going for about 60 a game, no touchdowns to show. Now 6 touchdowns on the year after this 3-touchdown performance. B-Mac, I'll go your way first here. What's changed? How has Josh Jacobs managed to become this productive of a runner?
Well, I think you have to highlight the offensive linemen first and foremost, because they have done a phenomenal job in improving in that element to be able to open windows of opportunities for Josh Jacobs in running the football. So let's start there. The offensive linemen, the last 3 ball games, they have dominated in the trenches. And because of that, we're seeing production with the running game. And then when you highlight Josh Jacobs, he's looking like the Josh Jacobs that we saw at Alabama. He's running angry. He's running with bad intentions. He's always falling forward. You see the burst. You see the quickness. And remember, guys, during preseason, this was a guy that was involved in preseason games late. It wasn't like he got a series or 2 and came out of the ball game. It seemed like he was on the bubble of getting cut based on how much he played in the preseason. But right now, he's earned the trust of the entire offensive staff, of the organization, and he's been rolling the last 3 weeks. I think he's probably been the hottest running back in the National Football League.
Absolutely, B-Mac. And you make an interesting point about Josh Jacobs' arc this season, how you mentioned he played all those preseason games towards the end, which is a sign that perhaps you're even on the roster bubble. He's been on fire the last few weeks, especially on Sunday. And his first-round draft mates in that class with the Raiders, Clee Farrell, he had 3 tackles and a sack today, a half a sack, and Jonathan Abram, the safety, he had 8 tackles. All 3 of those first-round picks, when they were drafted by the previous regime, none of them had their fifth-year options picked up, primarily because they didn't ball out like they did today consistently. Now, Joe and B-Mac, the other side of the conversation is Josh Jacobs will be put into the Hall of Fame right now if he played the Texas defense every week, and that's something to keep in mind. But I'll say this. They came into this game ranked last in the AFC, like dead last. They'll make a move up the board, obviously, with that, and they'll take the win any way they can get it, build on that, and look forward to their next game.
Context matters, according to our Ryan Wilson. So with that, the 154 did come against the Chiefs. The 144 prior came against a respectable defense in the Broncos. We take a look at what's occurred and what's yet to occur here for the Las Vegas Raiders. The road ahead goes Saints, Jags, Colts, Broncos, Seahawks, Chargers. No one really scaring you in that stretch, and I only outline it because we're looking at a 2-4 football team that might be a lot better than the record. Those losses coming by slim margins, Ryan. What do you make of the Raiders at this juncture? Feels like a lot of belief for a 2-win team right now.
That's right. You know, Bill Parcells-Hill saying you are what your record says you are. There are no moral victories in the NFL. And I think this game was both a moral victory and an actual victory for the Raiders, something they can build on because they've had some tough losses, some losses that could have gone the other way and perhaps gotten them a win, maybe even 2 in the win-loss record there. And I think the good news is they have a really good coach in Josh McDaniels. I know he started up to a slow start, but I feel much better about his situation than some other coaches in that division in their first year. Derek Carr's a really good quarterback. He's gotten off to a slow start. He did some really good things today, and I think this is a team going in the right direction. B-Mac mentioned the running back situation, mentioned how well the offensive line played. The biggest concern, and this is going to be a concern throughout, even those games you mentioned upcoming where the Raiders certainly have a chance to win those games, is going to be the defense, and especially the ability to get after the quarterback. Max Crosby, we know why he got paid, because he's doing his thing. Everyone else, they need to sort of wake up. Chandler Jones has yet to get a sack. I mentioned Clee Farrell, who had a half a sack today. He's never really lived up to that top 5 billing. If they can find someone else to help out Max Crosby, that could be a change in the trajectory of this season, and I think that's their primary concern going forward. The offense will sort itself out. Devontae Adams had a big day today, not surprised there. Hunter Renfro's getting back in the mix. Matt Collins has been a pleasant surprise, but the defense is going to have to find a way, manufactured or otherwise, to get after the quarterback more consistently.
And I think that has been one of the more disappointing things with the Raiders so far defensively. When you add a guy like Chandler Jones, who's been a double-digit sack guy when healthy, you pair him up with Max Crosby. You would think those 2 guys would dominate, but they haven't really been able to do so. But we're starting to see them pick up their end of the bargain. The same can be said for the guys on the offensive end as well. And when I look at their record, yes, they're 2-4, but let's look at the losses, right? They were in every ball game they lost. Week 1, 24-19 loss to the Chargers. They were right there. We all remember how the Arizona Cardinals game ended. They were right there as well, lost by 6 points. You lost by 2 points to the Tennessee Titans. Then you lost by 1 point to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, if you look at those losses, you change 1 play or 2, they would have won those ball games. So this is a team, yes, they're 2-4, but they're a much better team than what their record says. So they have to find a way to stack wins. But I can say this, guys. Yes, they're 2-4 right now, but their division is all about one team. Every other team in that division, they're going in the wrong direction. Their stock arrow is pointing down. So that leaves a window of opportunity for the Raiders.
All right, we'll see what they can do because last season in one-score games, this Raiders team was 7-2. They found themselves in a lot of tight ones early on in this season. This one was not all that close. 38-20 is your final as Derek Carr gets you 15 fantasy points with his one touchdown to show for it. Davis Mills did edge him out with 3:02 through the air and 2 touchdown passes, did ding you with the interception, but Josh Jacobs is the beginning and the end of the story. $143, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 36 PPR scoring.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.